Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this week's version of Full Force. What we're doing this week, last week we went into the hyper aggro strategies inside of Magic Online, so playing with Slitherblade and Sacred Cats and just being really low to the ground aggressive. This week we're doing something different. We're going to go the total opposite direction. Everybody's going fast, let's go slow. I want to see how slow we can go. I had a deck a long time ago on stream that I played that was a lot of Luxa River Shrines. We had a stipulation where I had to take anything that used brick counters, and it actually went pretty well. I went 2-1, and the finals was super close, and so I'm kind of interested to try a similar deck again, and this is perfect because I swear I'm not cultivating these. You guys see me lose a lot on these Full Force videos, and first pick, first pack of the first attempt at this, boom, Approach of the Second Sun. This is a surprisingly decent, I think, finisher for a style of deck like this. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. That's the thing. I don't know if this deck is viable at all, especially with all of the hyper aggro strategies that are going on now. But we will try and build with that in mind. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy to grab an Approach to the Second Sun. Now, despite the fact that we're trying to go quite slow, we want to play things like Luxa River Shrine. I'm wondering if here we just take Gustwalker. And the reason is that the way that we've got to adjust our strategy from where we used to have it playing a deck that would run Luxa River Shrine is that now we've got to understand that if we don't have Gustwalkers, our opponents certainly do. And we're going to need to be able to trade 2-drops. So, I don't know if this one does it that well, though. Because it doesn't block Nefcrop Entangler and doesn't block other Gustwalkers. But having something early that interacts with the opponent could be very key here. Start to finish is very powerful as well. I could take start to finish. I mean, I don't know if I'm white-black. I don't know what colors I am. Generally, I would say I'm some kind of combination of like green-blue, probably splash the Approach to the Second Sun. But that's hard to say. I'm going to take the Gustwalker for now, because it's just the least number of colors. I don't want to go into 2 colors. Wow, another start to finish. And I don't know, like, Gustwalker is a really good card. Having a 2-drop is nice. There's a Slitherblade. Start to finish again, and the Irrigated Farmland. Irrigated Farmland seems like a pretty good card for us, honestly. Because I imagine this deck coming together as a green-blue deck splashing the white. Which does make Gustwalker a little bit awkward, no question. But I generally have had this style of deck, the slower deck, be green-blue. So with like Bounty the Luxa and Sandworm Convergence, Weaver, cards that get you extra mana that way so that you can kind of cheat the fact that you're a slower deck. I'm going to grab the Irrigated Farmland. I know that sounds a little crazy, but I think that if we're going to try and splash, this is going to be important, and I feel like we are going to splash. Gift of Paradise will probably wield, Irrigated Farmland won't. Now we have Evolving Wilds, Greater Sandworm. No Luxa River Shrines, which is okay. I think that we want to try and wheel them anyways if we do see them. I wouldn't mind seeing them, though, so that we know that we're actually wheeling them. I'm going to take the Greater Sandworm and move on with our lives. Seems like a decent enough card for us. Trial of Knowledge. Ooh. Man, the Hyper Aggro deck's getting some good cards. Another Sacred Cat and Slitherblade. We've seen a couple of each now. But Trial of Knowledge seems sweet. Gale Strike wouldn't be bad either, but I think that I want the Trial. If we can get a Trial early, then we can start grabbing cartouches, and then it gets insane. Now we have Colossopede, Winds. Ronus's Monument is really cool. Very powerful card. I've come down on it a lot from where I originally started with it, but it's one of the 2 playable monuments, and it's pretty solid. I don't think it's what we're going to be trying to do, though. We're not really attacking along those lines. I think I'm going to take the Colossopede. I might want the Winds of Rebuke. I'm going to want some early interaction, but I feel like Winds of Rebuke I can pick up later. Colossopede's a pretty good signal for green. Naga Oracle, decent blocker. Colossopede's great. I don't know how many I like. Running 2 this early is a little bit of an issue. We don't have a lot of early game, and I mean, we're already going to be 2 Colossopedes in. I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of feel like I just grabbed the Naga Oracle. I should be able to get either one of these later on. I could just cut the Colossopede just to send a signal. Blue tends to be pretty open, so I'm probably okay on that account. I'm going to take the Colossopede. I think it's a little better. Ooh, Tawcrop Skirmisher is excellent. Another Slither Blade for somebody. But I really do like Tawcrop. It's a great 2-drop. You get to buy it back later in the game. Like, it's good for slow decks because it's a 2-drop that you can kind of stabilize on. You just trade it off with something, and then you buy it back later in the game for extra value. So I really am a big fan of Tawcrop. I don't think the card's insane, but it's very solid. Hooded Brawler is an excellent sign, because that card's good, and I will definitely take it. This is a deck where Ancient Crab might be worthwhile. So no Luxa River Shrines. That's unfortunate. I really want to find a Protection of the Heckmaw. If I find Protection of the Heckmaw or Luxa River Shrines, I'm definitely playing them. That's what we're going to be trying to do. Alright, Gift of Paradise, sure. Put Scribe in the sideboard. I'm not playing Scribe in this deck. It does have a spot in certain decks. I think that it's cool if you manage to get... I haven't really been able to put that deck together in a long time, but the deck that is like Wander in Death and Scribe just with like a million cyclers, you can chain that together and have it be a really cool little combo if you want to grind out a lot of really late game value. Not sure how viable that is now that people have more and more gone towards being very aggressive. The other spot where I think it is still playable for sure, because the deck is still quite good, if hard to put together, is the blue-red deck. Blue-red spells can be pretty great with that. Speaking of blue-red spells, Magma Spray and Warfire Javelineer and a Sensor. Hapatra is very cool, but I think that that's far enough out of our colors and just what we're trying to do that I don't want to do that. I love getting a pick one, pack one Hapatra because you can build around it and the card's crazy good when you can. But this is not the deck for it. I mean, I don't think we're going to splash black for Hapatra. What are we going to use to put counters on things besides her? It just doesn't seem likely. Fanbearer is very good, although it has to be a splash. Sensor's pretty solid. I could take Sensor. Not excited about it, but it's fine. Bitterblade Warrior is not terrible. I think it's Sensor, Bitterblade, or Fanbearer. Fanbearer feels kind of dicey because I want to be green-blue. And just, I don't know how much white I can actually play. I'm gonna go... That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with the Sensor. Ooh, Vizier of Many Faces is awesome. There is also a Naga Vitalist, which feels like it's a must-have for our deck. We really need the ramp cards. But Vizier of Many Faces is just a bomb. This card is unbelievable. So I have to snap it off. Very sadly, because Naga Vitalist is a top pick for us. There's some really good cards here. Electrify is quite nice. Oketra's Monument is fantastic. But, yeah, Vizier of Many Faces, easily the pick. Despite how sad it makes me. Vizier of Tumbling Sands does work with Gift of Paradise. It's a good early play, too. It's just a nice big butt. So I might just take a Vizier of Tumbling Sands here. I've been blown out a couple times by the cycle untap something as well. Somebody untaps their Colossopede and just eats your, like, 4/4, which is really sweet. Magma Spray is cool. Surprised it's still here. I'm going to grab the Vizier, though. And I'll be happy enough to run that. Passing another Bitterblade. Ooh, Scaled Behemoth is a good finisher. We're not getting the, like, Luxa River Shrine style stuff, though. I really want to go slow. Like, I want to go ridiculously slow. Try and see if we can't gain enough life that those aggro decks can't even kill us. That's what we're trying to do. I'm going to grab the Scaled Behemoth. Anyways, Shimmer Scale, Defiant Great Maw. And this is where I wonder if we just want the Defiant Great Maw. The card's not that great. Ha ha ha. But I just don't think that we should run it. Like, we should run the Shimmer Scale over it because it's a 5-drop and we already have a lot of 5s. If we had Naga Vitalists, then I would be a lot more inclined to take the Shimmer Scale. I can cycle it, which I'm sure that there's a lot of people screaming at their screens right now. But it cycles! The problem is that it doesn't do anything for the board early in the game. Like, yes, I can cycle it early game, but if I'm cycling it, then I'm also taking a bunch of damage from an actual aggro deck, and then I'm dying. So cycling is good, but it can't make up for actual early game. I'm still going to take it here, despite all those things that I just said. But it's just a little rough. I'll take another Shimmer Scale here. I don't want Painted Bluffs. Yeah, we have Approach the Second Sun, but... I mean, we have the Gift of Paradise, we have the Irrigated Farmland. I don't think that it's super necessary for us to run Painted Bluffs, which is a pretty atrocious card, honestly. And I don't need another Claw Speed. Shimmer Scale does have the advantage of cycling on the Claw Speed. Spring to Mind, that's a card that I'd like to play. Still 0 Luxa River Shrines, we're just not getting them. I will absolutely play them if I find them. Pouncing Cheetah. Somebody trying to do the same thing that we are. Bitterblade Warrior. Easy, easy, easy pick. Cultivator could be okay. It does ramp you a little bit. Does also fix for Approach of the Second Sun. Not entirely certain that's necessary. One Painted Bluff could be okay. Cultivator's pretty bad. Alright, I'll just grab the buffs. Another Pouncing Cheetah, sure. I don't want Compelling Argument. Ooh, Windsor Rebuke is actually decent. And Senator's Deliverance is a good sideboard card, so that's a pretty decent couple hits for us there at the end. Not amazing or anything, but fine. Okay, it is 3 for Spring. Just double checking that it's 3 on this side. Because I'll want to put it on the Spring side and not on the Mine side as far as our mana curve goes. This may be... It's funny because I've played a lot of slow green-blue decks, but I think that this might be the first Spring to Mind that I've actually gotten. I play a lot more slow green-blue decks back in the early start of the format, but yeah, I feel like it's gotten worse. I mean, we'll see, though. I haven't done it in a while. I've been going more and more aggressive just with everybody else. I don't know that that's the right way to play the format, though, because I haven't tried to fight it by doing this. Alright. Taking the Compelling Argument just to cut blue. Cartouche of Strength. Works with the Trial of Knowledge. Good with our Claw Speeds, our Shimmer Scale Drakes. Obviously Scaled Behemoth. No Luxa River Shrines. I'm amazed that we haven't seen one. I mean, they go late. We should have some by now. I will play as many as I can get. We'll put it that way. Again, this last pack, I will take any that I see, even early on, over good cards. Just to make sure that I get them. I wanted to do this as, like, can you do a deck with Luxa River Shrine that is slow enough that it actually wants it? And, I mean, this is a slow deck. It's not super fast. It's not Slitherblade, that's for sure. But it doesn't have any Luxa River Shrines, which is kind of the idea behind this. No protection of the Hexmaw, no Luxa River Shrines, so... a little disappointed in that so far. New Perspectives, draw a bunch of cards. Pretty sweet, but there's a Naga Vitalist, and that's an easy pickup for us. We really needed that. I wouldn't mind wheeling the New Perspectives. Probably won't. Evolving Wilds would be okay. I wouldn't mind one. Nice replacement for Painted Bluffs. I don't love either one of them, but Evolving Wilds is, like, a whole level above Painted Bluffs. A lot of people, just as a quick aside, I see a lot of people that'll play Evolving Wilds in their 2-color decks. I think that's a pretty big mistake. I wouldn't do it myself, so I'm not a huge Evolving Wilds fan. If I'm playing 3 colors like this, absolutely I'll play one. I don't know that I'd play 2, though. I mean, we only have Approach of the Second Sun at a 7. I don't think that it's that necessary. And we have the Spring to Mind, we have the Gift of Paradise. And tap lands are really bad. Like, you just don't want lands that come into play tapped. It's a big downside. Like, people will be like, well, I mean, it's just free. You just put it in your deck. It makes the splash free. And it's a tap land. Tap lands are a big deal. Like, Irrigated Farmland has a pretty big downside. It's still worth it, I think. But, and same with Evolving Wilds in this deck, at least. But you've got to consider that when you're looking at your mana base. If you're trying to be a really aggressive 2-color deck, you don't want Evolving Wilds. If you draw a tap land, it's just the worst feeling ever. Decimator Beetle is insane. Sheltered Thicket's kind of cool, but obvious Cartouche Strength. Sheltered Thicket is mostly just You know, like, we have a deck already, essentially. We're not missing any cards. We're cutting playables already. We have 24. So something like a Shelter Thicket actually holds a bit of value for us for a few reasons. One, it is probably worth like $1 or $2. The other reason, though, is in terms of the deck, we're going to be upgrading. Like, if we take, say, Essence Scatter, maybe we're trading a Pouncing Cheetah for an Essence Scatter, and that's a tiny upgrade. So we're trading like 5 for a 6 on a scale of 10. Well, if we play Shelter Thicket, we're trading like a 0 land, like that we'd just be running, like just a forest, for like a 2. Like, we just upgrade it a couple more slots than we would otherwise. Ooh, Naga Vitalist number 2 is great. Absolutely want that. I wonder if we're going to see a single Luxa River Shrine. I don't know that we are. Quarry Hauler is interesting. Very cool if we get those Luxa River Shrines, but that's quickly vanishing. Alright, I'll take the Quarry Hauler. Hey, Luxa River Shrine! Ding, ding, ding! We did it. Well, I have to play that. I just have to. Man, we have a lot of cuts to make. A lot of cuts to make. I feel like the Pouncing Cheetahs can definitely come out. Probably the Ancient Crab. This deck is really good. Like, for what it is, the style of deck that it is, we have a lot of playables. Maybe it just means that nobody's playing this style of deck anymore. Synchronized Strike versus Hooded Brawler. Ooh, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Those are all really good. Synchronized Strike is fantastic. But are we aggressive enough to use it well? Hooded Brawler is also really solid. Just a good early beater. I'm going to take the Hooded Brawler. I could be very wrong. Ornery Kudu. Sure. New Perspectives. Yeah, why not? We're trying to go slow. Let's go slow. Take out the Colossipede. We're just going to outvalue everybody. We're going to draw a lot of cards. We're going to Trial. We're going to New Perspectives. We're going to just get them. Scribe the Mindful, Essence Scatter. I like Essence Scatter a decent amount. I'm not going to be able to play Heckma. Oh, wow. What do we cut? Some tough cuts here. I don't want to cut Gift of Paradise because we do have some top end. It gains us a little bit of life, fixes for that. Stinging Shot is a great sideboard card. Pretty happy to slam that. We need to cut 3 cards. Wow. This deck has so many playables. Like, look at everything we have in the side, too. There's a lot of really good cards going on here. I'm sad cutting that Colossipede, but I think it was necessary. Cut the Quarry Hauler. I can't cut too many creatures, though. Cut Trial of Knowledge. No, I can't do it. Just cut those? That is tough. I don't want to cut Cartouche. Is this a 16 land deck? You may not think that. Looking at that we have 2 7s, 2 6s, and 3 5s. And a Spring to Mind. But is this a 16 land deck? Now, I'm kind of being serious here, because we do have 2 Naga Vitalists, we have a Gift of Paradise, and we have Vizier of Tumbling Sands. We have 4 things. Oh, and the Spring to Mind. We have 5 things that get us extra mana for 3 mana or less. That might be enough. We have the incredible combo of, like, Gift of Paradise into Vizier, untap and make a ton of mana. That could be reasonable. I think it's more reasonable to just take out Quarry Hauler. 14 creatures is a little bit low, but I think this is fine. Kind of scared about the Cartouches since our creature count's a little bit low. We did cut a Colossipede too, but card is too good, especially with Trial of Knowledge. I'm still going to jam it. Okay, sort by color. Add in 1 plains. Yeah, I think 1 is all we need. Because because we've got Gift. We have the Gift, the Irrigated Farmland, and the Spring to Mine. So that'll be 4 sources for Approach the Second Sun. I think that's enough. And then 8-7. 8-7. So that's really 8-8 because of the Irrigated Farmland. You know, I don't think I like that. I think I like an extra forest. We have so many early game green cards. Like, there's 3 blue cards before turn 4. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green cards. So, yeah, 3 to 8. I'm going to have an extra forest in here. Sure, we might have double blue on turn 4. We have Spring to Mine. But, like, this is a late card. Vizier, sure, I might want it on turn 4. But it does get more powerful later in the game because you can copy something like a Scaled Behemoth. But, yeah, I like this. And the green is really important early. Like, if we get Tall Crop Skirmisher on turn 2, that's great. I'd love to get Tall Crop on turn 2. Fantastic. But if we get Naga Vitalist on turn 2, that is so much bigger for our deck. That's so much more important. Same with, like, getting Gift of Paradise online, or even a Hooded Brawler or something. I like that a lot more. It just seems better to have the green early. Alright, so we will save it. I will go to the games, and let's see what we can do. A little sad we didn't get an extra, like, Luxa River Shrine or 2. But we do have Approach the Second Sun, and that is sweet. I'm going to try and win as many matches as possible with Approach the Second Sun.